Good morning, everybody. Welcome back from Someone Scott Selections here for Thursday, September 22nd. For again today's play of the day, quick recap of what happened yesterday. We had a loss in baseball with the Pirates team total over 2.5 runs at minus 115 on BetMGM. Pittsburgh had a bunch of chances, unfortunately squandered most of them as they went 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position. Yet they still had 2 runs going into the seventh. So we had 9 outs to work with and needing 1 run. Had a couple guys on base, but it did not work out. And Pittsburgh finished with 2. So I can't say it was a bad beat, but unfortunately for us, Severino actually looked pretty sharp, which surprised me. But Pittsburgh had chances, didn't work out, and look for a bounce back winner here on Thursday. And for today's play of the day, going to Thursday Night Football between the Steelers and the Browns. And you're expecting an ugly game before bad weather. Now you're getting bad weather. And even though this total is 38.5, which sounds extremely low, I'm actually going to take the under because I think this number is too high. And the best line is minus 110 on BetMGM. Time recording of 12:40 a.m. Eastern time. So a couple reasons why I like the under in this matchup. First reason, I just mentioned the actual weather. And to go through the specifics there, a ton of wind is expected, including a little bit of rain potentially. 20-mile-per-hour winds expected throughout the game, including wind gusts up to 35 miles per hour. So I don't exactly expect many big passing plays to take place. I expect both teams to game plan accordingly, try to run the ball, try to prevent their quarterbacks from making some risky throws. And as a result, you might see a punt fest breakout where the first team to 17 wins. But for a total of 38.5, I guess the question you have to ask is, can you see both teams reaching 20? I can't. In fact, I'm not sure either team will reach 20 in this game. Cleveland, maybe, because they still have Chubb and Hunt and they can run the ball. But Pittsburgh's offense, I'm really not sure how it's going to move the ball throughout this game. The Steelers, in decent weather, have looked awful so far this season. The Steelers have recorded less than 268 total yards of offense in each of their first 2 games. And to go through the actual specifics, Pittsburgh scored 23 points in the season opener against Cincinnati. However, a reminder, there was a pick six in there. And on top of that, the game did go to overtime, which ended up resulting in 3 more points for Pittsburgh. So Pittsburgh scored 13 points in regulation against Cincinnati and then scored 14 points in regulation in the loss against New England last week. So the Steelers might reach 13 in this game. And as a result, I do think Cleveland is going to struggle potentially breaking past 24 in this matchup. But to go through some of the other factors here, if you want to go through Pittsburgh's offense, I mentioned the fact that they haven't really moved the ball that much at all throughout the season. Main reason why, they still have Trubisky as their quarterback. And it seems like somehow, even with the corpse of Big Ben retiring, the offense has gotten arguably worse, if not stayed the same, because Tomlin's coaching staff is extremely vanilla when it comes to the offense. And Tomlin, as a defensive coach, is not afraid to punt all the time and let the defense dictate the field position. But that's also an issue because the Steelers don't have many great weapons right now. Najee Harris is the main threat in the backfield. The issue is he's kind of battling a foot injury, and behind the offensive line, he has really not done anything this season since the offensive line is so bad. As for the receiving core, Deontay Johnson's still talented, doesn't really have many yards. Claypool's been a non-factor. Pickens has been a non-factor. And to go through the receiving core, besides those guys, you have Freiermuth catching touchdowns, but that's basically it. And I really don't see how Pittsburgh's going to move the ball that easily. Cleveland's pass defense was not good against the Jets last week, but with the bad weather, I do think the Browns defense will do enough in order to force Trubisky to incrementally lead them down the field. And we know that Pittsburgh's red zone play calling is also atrocious. So you might see some field goals, which might be an issue because the wind might result in a little bit of an unpredictable field goal kicking situation for both kickers. Plus, to go through the actual trends for unders this season, they've been very, very profitable. Unders are 21, 10, and 1 overall, and in primetime games, 6 and 1. So the unders have been cashing at will so far this season. And even though this number does seem extremely low, it's extremely low for a reason. The public will blindly back the over because the number's in the 30s. But with the really bad wind and with both teams having pretty decent defenses and pretty underwhelming quarterback play, I do think you'll see a very conservative game plan from both teams. A lot of really, really safe dump off passes, a lot of handoffs, and a lot of running clock. Cleveland might dominate time possession here for about 35 minutes and change. And even though Chubb could break one, I do think you're going to end up seeing the Steelers defense, which is still pretty good, do a pretty good job of limiting the Browns from really generating many scoring chances. I think you'll see this game once again finish somewhere around 20-13. something like that. But 38.5 does seem a little bit high since I'm not sure either team's going to reach 20. So I'll take the unders. Play that once again here for Thursday. September 22nd is going to be on the Steelers and Browns under 38.5 at minus 110 on BetMGM. Bye, everyone.